What?
Trying to get.
Yeah, so we know what's changed.
Yes, one of the things that changed is now our sketch plan reviews are held as a hearing. And what else changed? That's major, that's changed.
Yeah, there is a
something
summary.
There's also the size of lots that's changed, or is that already changed? Minimum lots in the village, those already changed.
I'm not sure, I thought they had.
I think so, yes. They'll be.
Yeah, well, that should be on the planning commission page.
Yes, sir.
You might be more familiar with that, right?
Someone, yeah.
Great, and are they mostly changes to subdivision?
Yeah.
And village,
Looking at, they do a pretty good job of showing. The
Yeah.
changes in the draft where they've crossed out and see. What's being changed.
Right, which is that document there that's printed out too.
great.
You didn't where?
I think it primarily eliminated. The need for 3 separate.
Here.
meetings. Yeah.
Right.
3 separate meetings, 1 meeting and 2 hearings.
Right.
Yeah, so the proposed amendments make the subdivision process easier to administer and more transparent for the public by having one sketch plan review that is a warned hearing early in the permitting process. Clear definition of the applicant and the person in regulations, basically keeps all the existing requirements for review and appeals. Adds more flexibility for slope requirements, defines the new lot size, density for subdivision.
Right.
Decreases the lot frontage minimum in the village district from 50 feet to 40 feet. And adds attached and detached dwelling to accessory dwelling, which that's separate, but that was sort of a
Definition.
overall. Report on the amendment. Yeah.
I think, yeah, people.
It all.
Okay.
And did
Mary here?
Your son in the
Mary, Hi, Mary.
Yes, yes.
We have, Mary, why don't we give one of these chairs that have. Chair.
Oh, no.
Here's the chair. Somebody who's like there. We'll find it.
I find that's my feeling that.
Okay.
Welcome back, Larry. Chairs, Warren, chair, for those of you who don't know me, and you guys can introduce yourselves, how's that? Wanna introduce yourself?
I'm Jessica Cooper.
And planning commission, right?
Longer, that's what you
Great.
formally.
Okay,
Seth Mullendor, also a member of the DRB board.
and then Mary. Can't hear you, Mary.
Oh, you're muted.
Mary, can't hear-
Mary Niebling, member of the DRB. I seem to have 2 things open. So I will shut.
Yeah,
So we're recording now?
we've been recording, yeah.
Okay, great. So I'll call the meeting to order at 7:03. And we have any revisions or adjustments? Hearing none, I will move on, well, in 2 minutes. We just,
Mention so.
yeah, okay, well, we can do that, and we will get it in the hearing and we can ask for it. We could just do the right way.
Yeah.
So we did go through this before with this. And we did do the whole thing around what the conflict was, this incident. The folks that. the cities, not it's the cities, the towns, it's the very past, it's the conflict of interest rates, it's like 5 year. Not.
That sounds like it's something that people should hear, something
Sure.
you should talk a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
louder.
yeah, well,
so they
he'll,
know-
okay, yeah, he can speak to his when we. Why don't you wanna do that right now, Jesse, we haven't started the hearing yet, but it is the next thing on the agenda, we have to wait 1 more minute.
Starting.
We have started the meeting, so Jesse, why don't you go ahead and say
Yeah.
if you don't have.
I just wanted to disclose that I'm also a butter of the property that's under review for this application.
Where are you living?
23 still, he's on the corner of still. Some process, so good from one of the properties. That's part of this.
And we had done research in the past, I had with the Vermont leagues of cities and towns, define what is conflict of interest of a board member, and. It's not just being a butter at all, it's more if there's a fiduciary. Conflict of interest, like if there would be financial gain or political gain or of that sort. Then you would need to expose those conflicts, you can still participate, but you may have to recuse yourself in specific situations. It's a decision.
Yeah.
So-
And I don't have any particular stake in this project as any financial or fiduciary or legal way, so I'm here as a member of the DRB and feel fully confident to look at this in terms of a project and application.
Folks are having trouble hearing that we got several people online. Just to everybody try to speak up when they talk. And yeah, folks, let us know if you need anything repeated.
Was that clear, what we're discussing right now, is there? I was just disclosing that I'm the butter to the project that's under review, the application that's under review, but that I don't have any specific ownership or relationship to it that would be financial or political or otherwise.
The sound
Mary?
is better now.
Okay,
It
great.
was
Great.
not just low, it was garbled before, but this is better.
Okay. Great.
Thank you.
May I bring up before we move into the hearing, that our next DRB meeting is on September 9th when the Brook Road discussion is happening, and I'm wondering if we can postpone our DRB meeting so we can attend the Brook Road discussion.
Yeah, and I won't be here either, so it would be best if we reschedule.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't. So
Yeah, so let's do that at the end of the meeting.
okay.
No DPR, yeah, said that. Okay, great. So I can go ahead and call this hearing to order. It's a Plainfield Community Development Corporation sketch plan review for a major subdivision located on 68 East Hill Street and 266 Main Street. The proposed subdivision for East Village expansion project to include an access drive to be converted to a town road, utilities including municipal sewer and water, stormwater system, electricity, data, and 3 4-unit single-family buildings and 2 6-unit buildings. Proposed review is for subdivision only. So, all of you who are here in attendance, did you sign in already?
Yes.
Okay, and then all of you who are gonna speak need to raise your right hand and affirm this oath. And anybody online as well, please raise your hand. And we want you to affirm that I hereby affirm that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury. Yes?
Yes.
All right, how about over there? Yes, nodding. Great, thank you, everybody. So we'll go ahead and move forward. I think it would be good to hear from the folks who submitted the sketch plan. what your plans are, we could read it, but I think for everybody here, why don't you go ahead and give us your,
Can we ask people who are speaking in the room to announce their name when they are speaking? Thank you.
Karen. Yes, for the record, because our note taker is now a tutor, so it's important that you read your thing.
Okay, should I start then? Sure. Alrighty. Hi, I'm Rick Burrows and I'm one of the board members on the Plainfield Community Development Corporation. We're a private nonprofit group that is developing the East Village neighborhood. And that's what we're proposing on. With me is Gary Intiburi. He and I are both working on the plan right now and moving forward towards permitting. I wondered if I could maybe do a quick review of the drawings. Does that sound appropriate to the group?
Wanna bring them up?
Yes,
If you could pull up the other one, Kaylee,
the
the purple one,
okay, yep,
thanks.
that's the overall existing conditions.
And can the people from
I'm
Zoom
gonna-
also see them?
Yeah, I'm gonna share the screen as soon as I open. Let's see. Okay, so.
All right, can everybody, if everybody can see that, I'm gonna start in. It may not be visible now, and I don't know if Kaylee can zoom in. with
We
this
don't
group.
see it
We
online at
can't
all.
see it.
Okay, one moment.
Share, okay. Okay, now it should be shared. This particular program is a little bit weird, but I can zoom in.
Would you zoom in, Kaylee, on the lower right hand corner, there's a little box. And it is a location map.
Mhm.
And it gives you a sense of where this is located within the town of Plainfield.
This window. Hold on, sorry, one quick. This needs to. Okay.
And if this proves onerous, we can just look at the whole sheet, like just describe where it
Okay,
is.
this computer is not.
Yeah, just go to the whole,
There we
here
go.
it is. That box in the lower right hand corner, if we were to zoom into it further, it would show Plainfield. It shows the current village,
You're talking
and
about
the
right there.
Martin Meadow neighborhood. The Goddard College neighborhood, and even that neighborhood which is a part of the village but not part of the town, which is just up above Tim's on the bank above Route 2 there. What we're proposing is where the black arrow goes down, and that's at the corners of East Hill Road and Main Street and down almost to Creamery Street. If you could zoom out, Kaylee, that'd be great. We're proposing development on 3 lots. I'm gonna describe them somewhat individually. One is the Pigeon Pond owned land, which is currently about 1/2 acre. I'm gonna use about rather than giving you the exact, although they're listed on the map. And then there's lot A and lot B of the Syringa properties. It's about 16¼ acres. And just to give you a somewhat of an idea of the topography, the topo lines are those dashed lines which get closer and further apart. And they're very steep up and to the left, and they wrap around above the village. So it shows we perch quite high above the village, and there's a steep bank down that goes off the property for the most part. Generally, the topography is rolling, I'd call it, and part of it's in field, part of it's open land. If you could zoom out to the full sheet. The border between the A and the the B lot is roughly the tree line. And the balance of the property is in field currently, agricultural field. It's bounded on most of the sides by fence, with the exception of the right-hand side where the purplish area meets the white. And right there is kind of a partial stone wall that runs up and down the street, up and down the sheet, excuse me. There is wetland that we've mapped. This is technically this is unmapped class 2 wetlands for the most part. And that has meaning to the wetlands people. There's a boundary beyond the blue line, which is a 50-foot buffer. Likely, we will be able to do a 25-foot buffer, given the current status, as we understand it, of the wetland boundary. Not sure how that will impact the plan. For the purposes of the sketch plan review, we are showing a 50-foot buffer. There's an area of class 3 wetland at the upper right-hand corner of the purpley, well, really kind of brownish area. And I think from a permitting standpoint, that's insignificant.
I'm sorry, that's gonna be what? I didn't hear the last part, which you just
That's
said.
insignificant.
Insignificant.
As far as we're not aware of any habitat issues, wildlife habitat issues. And we're certainly above the floodplain. There are no ponds and no brooks or streams on the property. So that's a kind of a quick overview as we understand what the criteria are for a sketch plan review. And if we could go to the second page, and it's going to be tough to go into a lot of detail on this, but I guess I urge this group to study the upper left-hand corner down through. That's the development summary. That's what we're planning to do. And just to be clear, we're only asking for permitting on the infrastructure, no structures. But we are showing some for clarity and so that you can understand what the long-term goal is here. So we showed 2 6-plexes and 3 4-plexes. The 3 4-plexes are Habitat for Humanity as a partner group or developer. And the 6-plexes will be developed by owned and then subsequently managed by Downstreet as we move forward with ownership.
Could you identify, please, I'm Philip Parisi. Could you identify which one of the 6 and the 4? Because that wasn't really clear on the map.
I'll get to that if I could just continue on with my discussion here.
Excuse me?
I say I'll get to that if that's okay. I just want to continue
Okay, all
on.
right.
Yeah, then I'll go from there. So utilities, power and data will come up what is an access road. And the access road comes up the left-hand side of this sheet. And power and data will come up that access road, as will water. Water will connect into all of the individual sites, but obviously it won't connect into the buildings. Sewer will run from the buildings downhill by Pigeon Pond lot, which is where the trailer is. And then stormwater is indicated through a series of ponding areas that we're showing. One's to the far right of the sheet, another is to the far left, and a third one is to the bottom of the sheet near Main Street. And so those are roughly indications of where the stormwater treatment will be done.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, stormwater over here, okay.
Thank you.
We're showing the buildings on there, and I wanted to kind of run through those. The street goes in, it turns horizontally, goes up, does a loop, and so there are 2 parallel streets and then connects back in. The 3 squares that you see coming down from that blue tongue are the 3 4-plexes for Habitat for Humanity. Within the circle area bounded on all sides by road or street are the two home sites with a parking area shown at the center of that. Around the outside of the lots are an additional set of for sale properties. The three running up and down the sheet to the right of the blue tongue that comes down from the top are smaller lots. The rest are more of a standard size lot. There's open space at the, let's see, how do I describe this? It's the far right hand of the fourplexes. Right below that is a chunk of open space. So we're not developing the down the sheet side of the road. We're leaving that open. There's additionally a playground at the upper right hand side area, playground area, excuse me, at the upper right hand side of the return loop, which is designated as a play area. That would be a combined play area. Additionally, the rest of the site will be left for the purpose of this permit will be left in open land. And its disposition is not clear right now as to what we're going to do with it finally, but other than to leave it as open land. So I think that's just a brief run through of what we have to show, and I'm sure people have questions.
It says it here that your application or for this review, it says 3 4-unit single family buildings and 2 6-unit buildings. So those are part of this permit application?
They're not. We've shown you what we think is currently being planned by Habitat for Humanity at a very conceptual level. That's the location that we're allocating for them to do what they're going to do. This is not part of that application. Our partner developments, Hone and Habitat for Humanity, are going to come to you separately for
Building permit.
Yeah.
So, but you're requesting, really, then these lots aren't being subdivided. We're not subdividing into, we are subdividing into all these different lots.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Just a question on that. Are there separate lots for the fourplexes and the sixplexes?
No.
Okay, so that's on
No.
the big.
The desire is for the developer to commonly own all of that, so they can
Okay.
commonly maintain it.
Okay.
And to be clear, the Habitat for Humanity boundary on the left side of the sheet as we saw it is not clearly defined yet. We're not really sure exactly where to set that bound. For the home lot, it's the boundary would be the street right away because it's bounded on 4 sides by street or road.
Can I ask this, so is any of this road one way or is
Nope.
it's all 2-way road?
Correct.
Okay.
I have a question just on the road. I remember back when there was a different design on this, there was a question about the slope and emergency access for that road.
We've talked with both the fire chief and road commissioner, road foreman, and they're comfortable with this, but it currently meets the zoning requirements of a 10% grade as it comes up the hill.
Okay, one question I have is. What, maybe you can help answer. The town formed a committee to look at this and what happened to that process? Just would like to know. Yeah, you were on it?
Yes.
Well, no, can't remember. Tammy? Yeah, Tammy, you were on it?
Yeah.
Oh, you were on it, Erin, and you were on it? I just like to know what happened to that
Yeah.
process.
So it's John, yeah.
Okay, so a lot of you here were already part of that town appointed committee, and this is the result was, let's form a LLC.
I can provide a brief summary if
Please, I'd
that's
like
okay.
to just to know the process, cause that's where we left it.
Right, so the town formed a committee, the committee recommended to apply for a large
Who's
grant.
speaking?
This is Arian Montgomery.
Thank you.
The town also tried to hold a bond, or did hold a bond vote to bond for the purchase of that land that would have been conditional upon receiving the grant funds. That bond vote did not pass, and the grant was not funded. At that time, the committee recommended to wrap up its work to the select board, wrote a final report that is available on the town website, and the committee thought.
Okay.
The work was then picked up by the Plainfield Community Development Corporation, which is an independent nonprofit private development group separate from the town.
Okay. Right,
Yeah.
now, this is for you, Casey. Sketch plan review doesn't require a permit application?
That comes after, so there's a sketch plan application and then there's a subdivision plan application.
Okay, so we're kind of combining this hearing as an informational, it's not like reviewing the permit. We're not permitting this today. We are asking questions, we're clarifying what's needed and what we think they need to go back to the drawing board and present to us for a permit application hearing, correct?
Yes.
That's my understanding. Is
That
that
is-
yours, Seth? And yes, yes.
Well, I mean,
But there are components to the application, that things that were submitted for today, which is the maps.
Yes.
And other documents, sorry.
I mean, my understanding is we're being asked to review the subdivision. So they're defining the way these lots are being divided into multiple smaller lots.
Yes,
And beyond that, when someone wants to actually build something, they would come back again under a separate application looking for a building permit.
right. So we're just reviewing today whether it meets our subdivision regulations, correct?
That's my understanding.
And then if there's things that we feel are missing to tell them to bring that to a permit application hearing. Yeah,
Yes.
everybody's understanding then?
Yes.
Excuse
Okay.
me, could I be recognized?
Who are
Sure,
you?
This is Charlie Cogbill. I have a question and probably a follow-up. You or the zoning administrator has received a zoning permit application.
and
Is that
no,
right?
no,
No,
no, that's what I just clarified, Charlie. No, this is a sketch plan review. The permit
Okay,
application.
Is this
will
a
come
step, is this a sketch plan review under zoning ordinances from March of 2026? Or is it a review under the potential amendments that have been proposed and warned? What is
latter.
the basis of this review?
The latter.
and the reason for that is because the zoning administrator is required to review any applications or any submissions under the amended regulations once warned.
Excuse me, when was the application received? And when was those amendments having public notice of being warned?
The application was received within the required time frame. I would have to look back at the exact date, but it was, all of the materials were submitted within the 15 days prior to the regular meeting of the development review board, which coincided with the warning of the new proposed
I
regulations.
have July 27th on this piece of this.
Okay.
Yes.
July 27th, and
Yeah.
the amendments were given public notice on the 4th of August, according to the warning for this meeting that have here. And I will point out, state statutes say that reviews of proposed amendments to ordinances can be reviewed after the warning of public notice. But if the application is received before then, they have to be reviewed under the existing conditions at that time. And could you please review Vermont State Statutes 244449D that explicitly explains that the review that you are doing right now has to be in accord with when the application was received and when the public notice of the amendments were posted.
That's my understanding from Kaylee.
Yeah, I was advised by the planning commission that everything, that this was what we were supposed to be reviewing the this application under, because the way that it works is as soon as the regulations are warned, I have to review any applications that have come in under those new regulations.
And that's what we're doing, and that's what, Charlie, you
Oh.
quoted state statute requires.
Could I
We are following
request,
state
could I request that you make sure that you're following state statute? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I guess I would point out that both the currently active zoning regulations as well as the amendments, the first step would be a sketch plan review, which is what we're doing. I think we're doing it as a hearing in anticipation of that being a change, but I don't think that it fundamentally changes this process that we're doing right now.
Go ahead.
John Osford. I would point out that the PCBC was also required to notify us 7 days at least in advance of this meeting. None of us received our notification until Friday, which is 6 days.
They're
So that doesn't
required to
mean-
send notifications.
That's not what it says.
Philip Parisi, we got ours on Monday.
Yeah,
Alicia
I've
Weiss
not
said
had time
on.
to review this with my lawyers at all.
So what is the regulation say, send in 7 days or
It was sent out.
received? Well, I think we can go ahead with this, there's no permit in which we are approving.
But you can't take action unless.
No, we can't take, all we're doing is making recommendations.
Okay.
Right.
We're not taking any action.
Okay.
There's no permit to take action on.
Okay.
There is this is a discussion. This is a review process of what they're proposing so that we can have dialogue with neighbors and take in everybody's concerns and the information given and see if it fits within our regulation. If it does, they will come in with a permit application. If it doesn't, then we won't, they won't. Or they'll amend what they're proposing so that it can fit into our regulation. So this is why we're doing the sketch plan. So we're having a conversation and hopefully we can all have a good conversation about our concerns and also the benefits of what's being proposed.
The question,
Oh.
George. Go ahead, George.
Hi, folks.
Rose is probably in there with you.
Is that at your end?
That sounds better.
Okay. I'd like to point,
George, you probably have to turn off your other account. You have two of them, so that's why you have an echo, I think.
Ah. You're on there twice.
Rose is on.
There's two Georges, maybe one's from a phone and one's from a computer or something. I don't know. Okay. There we go.
Well, we lost the George who was speaking, so hopefully it'll come back on. But
All right, well, so when George comes back, we'll answer his questions. Yeah, go ahead.
well, I have a question for you. The letter that we received, how do we want to?
Yeah, I
after
think
that.
that one of the gentlemen's here in Mer, and yeah, we wanna submit that letter into.
Okay, George is back.
Into Evan.
I'll do it after George.
Okay,
let's try it this time. I am so sorry about that, folks. Technology flummoxed me once again. I did want to point out that Kirsty Grant pointed out that she didn't receive it at all, and that is very much a significant mistake. She is very much in a butter to the project, and I want to point out that there is no purchase and sale agreement in effect for this project at all. And so it's difficult for me to understand why the people that are bringing this project before you are even in a position to do that. That's not, it doesn't seem appropriate to me.
Go ahead, Jessica.
George, I think I can speak to that to the extent that it's not a requirement that an applicant is also the owner of the property. It's common for representatives to file permit applications, and that's something that came up as a discussion somewhat recently within the Planning Commission and the DRB. I do think, however, that there would be an ask for something in writing from the property owner that they acknowledge and that they support the fact that this application is happening.
There is no written evidence of that.
There's no application submitted yet, George. This is just a discussion. We're not making any decisions here. This isn't a permit hearing. I think that's part of the confusion. For years we had informal sketch plan reviews where we didn't even notify the abutters. You would have had to look at our agenda because it was a casual conversation with the DRB to discuss our regulations and their requirements for a proposed project that somebody was interested in applying with a permit. So this is pre-permit. This meeting is pre-permit, and I think that's where people are maybe a little upset because we're not making any decisions here.
And just to be clear, the next phase of this would be a review of the final plat for this subdivision, and that's the point at which we would approve the subdivision
As a permit.
It would be a subdivision plan hearing, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so at that point, if they don't have a purchase and sale agreement, then Bram would have to be co-signing that.
Or sending a letter.
Right, he has to acknowledge that,
Yes,
because that is
exactly.
part of the legal
Yes.
requirements. Okay.
And so that's one of the things that we would say to the LLC, the proposers of this project, that we will need that letter from the owners, either in writing or have this verbal testimony here in a hearing. And we chose as a town to create a hearing, however imperfectly, people not getting their letters in enough time, so that there could be more town involvement, more neighbor involvement. Okay, we want to hear from one another. We want the neighbors to buy in to our neighborhood and whatever we do here as a community. So more discussion is good. And that's why the DRB and the town planning commission decided we'll make it a hearing, then you all have to be notified. And we're all volunteers. So, and Kylie's just learned the job. We're doing the best we can, and we'll continue to try to do the best we can. Okay, thank you. So, where are we at in our process? I think, we would like to submit into the record your letter, so go
Okay,
ahead.
so this is Philip Parisi, and Alicia Weiss is up there on the screen. We sent Janice, and she acknowledged by email, a letter of our concerns. Many of them have been voiced in other situations. One thing that is not in the letter that I thought about earlier today was in the area where it says community area, it's on the other paper, in this paper here. This open field potential community gardens. If that becomes a community garden, my question is that exclusively available to the residents of this proposed plan? Or if it isn't, and the town is having access to that,
Townspeople?
Yeah, the town people as community, because that seems to be a word that's been bantered around continuously with also the word affordability. And there's very little definition between both words because everyone has a different interpretation. So if it isn't only exclusively available to the residents of this proposed development, how would one it be allocated that the town, would it be something like a British allotment where people would either pay something for that or they would put in an application to have it for a season, something like that. So that's a concern that was not addressed there. Our concerns are specific to our house at 296 Main Street,
Which is,
which is this house, which is surrounded on 3 sides.
yeah,
I'm just, this letter though, are you talking about a different letter? Cause this is the letter that came.
oh, sorry,
their
yes, it's a
application,
different,
so
sorry.
That's okay, I just wanna make sure I have the right one.
Yeah, here, they did send it to you today too, I
Oh.
think you were on there.
Okay,
But and then I think those are things we can discuss
Okay,
here,
got it.
your concerns. So we will discuss it, but I'm submitting it for, he's submitting it, I printed it off.
And so now that's official, and then we're in the, if we wanna carry on about something later on, I forgot the word for it. Challenge it or whatever. Appeal, thank you, that was the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Yes, all right, so I
And we
do,
appreciate your quick response to Alicia sending that to you.
so I'll let you guys, you have this proposed community center, I know it's early, I mean gardens. And my question, maybe if you can answer is, who's gonna be the owners of the land? Is it gonna be town land that he's proposing, or is it gonna be owned by the LLC? Can you explain the ownership once it's bought and how this subdivision will work?
I'm a big fan of Gardeners Row. Those of you who don't know it, it's a British gardening program that really highlights the British allotment system. I'd never even thought of that until you brought that up. I think it's a great idea, but I gotta tell you, we don't have any real go forward plan for this yet. We don't have a specific use in mind for the public lands. It's just open land at this point. That's not being developed and not being actually asked as part of this proposal unless it's demanded in some way by you.
No, my question is who, and so then my question is, who are when the land is sold from the existing owners, who is selling it to, the LLC? And then the open land that's not bought into a lot
Yeah.
by Habitat for Humanity or a private homeowner? Or, who will own that open
I
land?
think we're really still in discussion with the select board.
Okay,
And we're really still in discussion amongst ourselves as to what the best use, the highest and best use of that land is that's open.
okay, so
So it's a really great question, but we don't have a clear answer as a private nonprofit. We know we don't want to end up owning it. We
Okay.
want to convey it in some fashion
okay,
that's useful to the community.
okay, but until there is a clear buyer, what remains open is under the stewardship of the LLC. And ownership of the LLC.
But that remains to be seen, but yeah, it would be until it's transferred.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
May I ask Rick a question? I'm a little confused. I know you explained this before, but I might have missed it. I know that you're a nonprofit, but are you also an LLC or whether the LLC was before when you were trying to get the bond approved?
maybe I misspoke.
I think there was I think actually Janice called it an LLC.
I
It's
misspoke.
It's not an LLC.
It's a nonprofit.
It's a
But that's what I thought.
It's
Okay,
not
I was
Yeah.
getting cross-wired there. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I think you were talking about Pigeon LLC.
Okay, heard that, thank you, okay.
Oh, that's the people who own 266.
That's correct.
Right, I think that's where she got the LLC.
Okay, thanks, Tammy.
Thank you, Tim. So let's move forward if we can, and I think I would like now to move into the regulations that we would need to review this if a permit potential application. Okay, the subdivision regulations, that's Article 5, subdivision review procedures and several sections within that. So let's bring that up. I think it's page 27. Would be. No, 47, right that. Yes. Okay, so prior to submission of a formal subdivision application, a potential applicant or their authorized representative shall meet with the zoning administrator to discuss the subdivision application process and general requirements. No testimony regarding the potential application shall be taken and no findings shall be made. No formal decision will be prepared or issued based on an informational meeting. The applicant shall have no vested rights of approval based on an informal meeting. Now, that's not what we're doing. We're doing,
No.
so this is old, this is
Well,
old language.
that's, I mean, that's all part of the amended. But what we're doing is on page 49. It says action on sketch plan. Development review board shall study the sketch plan to determine whether or not it conforms to or would be in conflict with the town land use and development regulations. Development review board shall determine whether the sketch plan meets the purposes of these regulations and make any specific recommendations for changes, and may request additional information to be submitted with the application, including but not limited to surveys, special studies, and or supporting documentation as appropriate. And these recommendations can be given to the applicants within 30 days of the sketch, the meeting at which the sketch plan is classified. So
That's what.
that's what we're here to do today. And then there are a number of
Sections.
different sections that could apply, yes. So the sketch plan application is on page 51 and. Says one or more maps or drawings, that are drawn to scale, and then it has a number of different things like proposed subdivision name,
So we walk through the,
Yeah.
usually that's what we do, is walk through the, and see.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna bring the map up, cause Peter's. Oh, sorry, what's your name?
Dennis.
Dennis, are you sure? I could look at it on the line if you guys wanna.
I can't see it up there, but I just see what I want to see.
Okay,
I think
Sally's gonna bring it up,
someone
right?
has their hand raised, should we?
Oh,
Yes,
Denise?
Janice?
Janice, do you wanna?
Thank
speak?
you, Janice Krill. So I have a Yes. Hello? Do you not hear me?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
No?
We can hear you.
yeah, we can
Hello?
hear you.
Hello.
Denise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have good. Great. I have a question about the road and its acceptance by the fire department, especially because we are talking about possibly adding another I'm not sure, is it 14 or 16, 20 plots in whole in total eventually. And we are told, we've been told a few times that the fire department says it's okay. I would request respectfully that we have an actual official letter or a statement by the fire department to say that it is indeed safe for them, if they feel that it is safe to have a steep road like that for the 6 buildings that are planned, first of all, and then if it would then be okay for them to have it if it's 20 units that are on the map as potentials. Because if we don't know that, then we don't know about the viability of the plan as is, and we also don't know what could happen in the future in terms of a need for a road coming off of East Hill. So I'm, with all due respect, you say that the fire department said it's okay. I really, really strongly request that we have that in writing from somebody. Thanks.
Thank you. My understanding is the road commissioner, they can't build a road and they have to receive a permit from the road commissioner in order to build a road. So that's a part of the application process, is to get a permit for that road. And that's one of the requirements that you'll need to bring for the hearing. So yes, that's definitely part of the process. Thank you for your concern. All right, so let's keep going.
It's like George.
George has his hand up. George, do you want to say something?
Yes, if I could, not to derail you from what you were talking about, but it does relate to the road. And that is when I look at the design of that road on the plan, you note that the road, it has the loop, but then there's the part where it goes up and ends abruptly at lot 10 on the south. Lot 10 is the southernmost lot that goes out into the, towards that wet area. And then there's the other piece that goes out and ends abruptly in between the habitat blocks A and B. And they're just two short stubs that are going to the south. And there's no way that town or emergency vehicles could turn around in those stubs. They'd have to like back into like driveways or something. And it seems totally crazy compared to the way towns usually require subdivisions to design roads. So it seems very peculiar that the town would be okay with that. And so I combine that with the fact that Rick was kind of ambiguous about what would happen with the area at the hill and the community garden, and that would be common land. He said that those sort of things could happen there, but they really weren't sure what would happen there in the future. And I hope that we can get some assurances that they're not going to be coming back to you with the second sketch plan at a later time and say, well, we're going to extend the road and have another big loop that goes around and connects those two. Because it sure looks to me like there's a whole other loop that might show up someday at another DRB meeting. Because those two stubs just don't go anywhere. What are the and
Want to address that?
weird? It's weird.
Yeah, George, what I see is the one that goes to the habitat actually goes to parking lots on either side. So
Yep.
that stub, that is a driveway boundary with parking. So it's an area that's parking, so I'm sure they'll be able to get a plow truck in there and turn around, is my guess, if you wanna speak to that. And then that stub that you're saying over by 10, I would assume that's an access to lot 10.
But towns don't improve public roads like that normally because they're hard to maintain. And that private roads fine.
That's from the applicants, what
Okay.
it is.
I don't really have anything more to say about whether the open land, what the final disposition of the open land is. That's not a part of this permit request. Other than that, I don't have much to say about it. The stub, as you said, going onto the Habitat for Humanity is accessing parking from one end. There's access to the parking from the other end. The road loops up and around, and that is the way traffic would work. And the stub going up at the end really only accesses lot 10. It's all it really can access, with the exception of access for maintaining the field, which there really isn't great access in a lot of places. So there is a short dog leg that comes off that we want to maintain so that we have access to the open area that's not a part of any of the.
I can see it says open to field, so it would be farm road, a field
farm road access, yeah.
So it's okay, there, George, did you hear those, is he still there?
I did hear that.
Okay.
Yeah, can they clarify and put it in writing that there won't be any development? Can they put conditions on that land that there won't be any further development in that area?
No, we're talking
That
about
would be
the
great.
road. I'm asking about the concerns about the roads. Did those satisfy your question? That those aren't stubs going off to nowhere. They actually are ends of driveways and accesses and the property. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
That's all they're ever gonna.
And I hear your concerns about the future, but I don't think any of us here know the future. So, and we can't, and that's up to as a property owner, they have the right to put covenants on property. I don't think we do as a TRB.
They could say that that's all it's ever going to be for, and that would greatly clarify it. It would be really helpful if they could clarify that forever.
No
That's all
taken.
I'll say.
Thank you. No taken. It's in the record. Let's go ahead and try to get through. Yes, do you wanna?
No, I disagree. Let's get back.
Yeah, let's
Let's
try
get
to
to the
move
list.
through this. So I see that the A is met, subdivision name and identifying title, name and address. Is that on here? That's, but see, name and address, yes, it's on this map. Owner of record and applicant is the owner is. And the applicant is on here, right? But the owner isn't, so.
Well, that information is in the cover letter
Okay,
that they submitted as
okay,
well.
thank you.
Yeah,
So,
I believe,
okay, so it's submitted with that applicant.
with the application.
Well, it's not an application,
Well, yeah,
site
okay.
plan,
It's not a zoning permit application, but it's a sketch plan application.
yes. Name of owners of record and of abutting property owners, it's named here. Boundaries and areas of each proposed new lots, we have that map. Date, true north, we have true north. Contour lines. At an interval no greater than 20 feet, that's this map. Existing land features which you discussed. On this map. Town plan and or identified through site investigation, including but not limited to. Current use, existing vegetation, walls and structures, driveways, roads and access, utility easements, historic site structures, significant wildlife habits, you spoke to all of this. Floodplain, ponds, streams, wetlands, and geological outcrops, it seems like we've addressed that one. The location of existing zoning boundaries within 500 feet of the proposed subdivision. What's the stuff? What are they speaking to that? Zoning boundaries?
That's the same thing that the
Property boundaries?
in class last time.
Yeah, that was property lines. Got a question in the room too.
Hi, Tammy, yes.
Tammy Farnham, so I just have a question, in relation, you just went through the list.
Yes,
With the application, are we requesting documentation of that and not just their statements?
so usually we receive an engine, a landscape or a licensed. Plan, so it's somebody will survey the property and submit with the application of plan. That's already done all that survey, and I was thinking since. There's a lot of interest in this project that we should site visit.
Well, and
So
also the documentation, I guess, to go along with that, I mean.
Yes, it would be submitted.
Submitted with the plans and all the documentation of the wetlands.
Yeah.
That's going to be,
Speaking,
not just over look.
Mary?
No, I mean, my question is, are you going to have the wetlands, is there wetland survey that's gonna be done by an engineering study?
There's a draft, as it stands right now is on that drawing, that's that blue line. That's the survey method.
And somebody has surveyed it? Okay, and so that with your application, that information will be surveyed, it will be submitted,
Sure.
that's what we,
Yeah, we can include the name, we can include the name of the surveyor.
thank you. Yes, sir.
Philip Parisi again. With the survey that. Arian, with the survey that you just said has been done. Are the abutters getting any information about that? Because I know that when Bram bought that property. He came to speak to Alicia and I. And he told us that the land was surveyed. So I would like to make sure that your survey. Coincides and agrees with his survey. Especially about our property line, but also for all the other property abutters.
Do you wanna speak to that, Erin?
It's there's a difference between a survey for the purposes of property boundaries and a survey for the purposes of wetland delineation. And at this point, we're using the same word survey to mean two different things. So your property line actually was adjusted by Bram, as you may recall. About 10 years ago, there were some things that had to be moved.
done.
Okay, you don't see. Okay. So type and location of existing and proposed restrictions on land such as easements and covenants. And you know of none?
They were cleared up by the current property owners. There were some utility easements that to Green Mountain Power, for example, that had been removed.
Okay, thank you. Vicinity map showing general location of the property in relationship to the surrounding area, you've given us that. The width, location, and grades of all driveways or private access roads proposed by the applicant. If applicable, the width and location of any public highways, trails, and places shown on in the town, Plainfield Town Plan within the area to be subdivided. We know of, do you know of any?
There's none currently, and the width of the road as required by Plainfield Town ordinances is the right of way is 50 feet.
50. So you're the right of way, so you build a driveway and there's a right of way of 50 feet
The
for
road-
the town.
Yeah, so they have, and that's required by town ordinances. We
So
follow, we're consistent with town ordinance.
thank you. So my,
And
I guess my
if
question
you-
is,
If you look at the upper right hand corner, we list most of those, and if you find errors in our assumptions. We've got the 50-foot right of way listed.
right,
Okay.
yeah, and I'm sure, but it'd be good to know, like, when you're building, your roads are also a width determined by town.
I think that the roads actually it's sort of complicated. I think it's a federal standard that the state of Vermont adopts, but then the town references.
Okay.
I believe how the road permits are determined.
It would
In my discussions with road commissioners, road foreman. I won't tell you that I completely understand it yet, but I'm afraid I'm going to at some point.
Right, so you will bring to the permit application process your permit from the road foreman for the access permit and also then approval of the slope of building the driveway that's steep. Is that something that they do as well?
Well, I think there's a lot
Right.
of discussion about the steepness of the road. Previously, I think this group has felt like it was gonna be more like 12 to 15 feet, and I think that's what what we're hearing in public comment. As I've stated before, and I wanna restate this is 10% or less, which is within the bounds of your purview. They were okay with 50%. And just to give you an idea, if you leave the village and head up Center or Middle Road, that's about 14%. And so that you get a sense for it, as you go up East Hill, that's 12 to 14%, just past your house, up there. And so I've been kind of doing a study of, along with talking with Carl about this, of what is the steepness of grade. 10% is pretty gradual compared to what we allow and all use every day within our community.
So I guess my question as applicants, how will you bring that engineered information to us of the slope that is gonna be? The maps, your state maps you're using?
Scale on the drawing, and it is already.
Right.
But we'll indicate it to scale on there, and if there's questions about, not that one, but the other one.
Right, well, your plat will need all of that, right?
That's correct.
That's part of the plat will need to show those grades and they'll need,
Yes.
that'll be an engineered.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you'll see is something like this with grading that describes it, and it
Like you
is.
have it here, actually, you also have the grade here on this map.
Yeah, but the road grade's actually shown too in sketch form, but it'll be done in a way that an engineer can understand it and conceptually. If there's questions, we'll define that further.
Thank you, yes, sir.
Okay,
Your name again?
Philip Parisi. I wasn't gonna say this only because I wasn't really sure about the grade issue, but looking at the topographical layout here, our driveway is exactly the same thing. And that driveway is extremely steep. I don't know what the grade is. And so that would, I guess, since we're talking about grades, I think I would like to point that out. Have you looked at our driveway, Rick?
Yeah, and I think that just because the two go up the same hill doesn't mean they're the same steepness. And I think that's what you're running into perceptually here. This is much more gradual than your driveway. And I mean, in some ways, that argument has two sides. Should we be allowed to be as steep as what your driveway is? Should we be allowed to be as steep as other roads?
I would imagine that.
We're not trying to, but
No, I
think this
think
would
we
be
just
fair.
are gonna follow the rules.
Yeah, I mean,
That the
imagine
town has accepted, and if the grade is 10 to 15 feet. And
10%.
10%, then that, and we have evidence of that, then we'll judge the merit of the permit
Absolutely.
on that.
I just wanted to point out that for topographically on this paper, whichever one, the one with the housing,
Yes,
it shows exactly the same topography for at least 3/4 of that road. That's what I wanted to point out.
okay, great,
Okay,
let's
and
try
I-
to move forward,
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say on that, it does look like there's different topographic on the road itself, so there's gonna be some leveling of that. It looks like to even that out, I can see that on here, where it has the like 810 and 820 on the road. To delineate that slope there.
So we just went through roads and we went through the contours, which is
You have a question?
L. Oh, where, oh, yeah, Tim.
Tammy Martin, so I just want to clarify, the reason we all feel like this road is steeper than 10% is because these same people told us it was for months.
Okay.
And that we had to go out this hill. So
Who is speaking?
Tammy Farnham.
Thank you, Tammy.
So I think that's where the concern is, because we've been told consistently for months that it was that way, and the town project had to go a different way.
Yeah.
Because of the steepness of that.
Yeah.
So that's a concern that all of a sudden that's changing,
Yeah.
and I think we definitely need verification.
Yeah, and that's what I'm
So
gonna.
I just wanted to, because he noted that we all think that, but that's fine.
Great, we're moving forward. A proposed, the location of proposed development including building envelopes, access roads, driveways, utilities, related improvements and locations of the proposed open land. Land to be held in common or other features to be preserved, and you have all of that on this sketch. So thank you. Connection with existing water supply or alternative means of providing water, you said it'll be connected to town water, and I did see, you sent us an MOU. So all of these agreements, all of these services and utilities are gonna be to town standards, and the town agrees that to take them over and maintain them, so I'm saying that to all of you. If you'd like to look at this memorandum of understanding that's been drafted between the town for these services that the town will provide once they're built. That's my understanding, correct? Am I correct? Great, sir. Connection, okay, connection to existing sanitary wastewater system, same thing. If private sewage, though that's not gonna happen. Provisions for collecting and discharging stormwater in the form of a drainage plan, which we see the bonds and they'll be engineered. Drainage.
That's correct.
Excuse me, could I
Yeah.
be recognized?
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, this is Charlie Cogbill. Condition Q says that the provisions for collection and drainage of stormwater, and the map has 3 circles saying stormwater. This does not indicate how it's collected or discharged. May I point out that stormwater detention and collection ponds behind the health center, which was okayed by the DRB, virtually failed and had to be replaced. There is a current proposal to fix the drainage in a gully behind Berry Hill Road. The Cameron Road drainage has washed out at least 4 times due to stormwater. And the 3 stormwater areas indicated on their map, one actually is slightly off the property, one is next to a wetland, and one is at the height of land. This condition asks for a drainage plan. I do not see that map being a drainage plan. And with all the problems that the town has had with gullies formation and getting away from floods, this is to prevent the flood. And I think we need a very detailed engineering drainage plan showing where the water is coming from, the impervious surfaces that are there, and where it is being discharged so it won't erode.
We'll take care of that as, there'll be an engineered plan, and we also have to go through the state, stormwater permitting process, which is the standard here. I don't know if it's perfect, I suspect it's not from what Charlie's saying, but I also suspect that it's always trying to improve. And, we're learning more and more about this.
The wetlands, these settling ponds that are actually plants in them and plants.
I'm not sure what technique is gonna be used. Rain gardens that you're
Yes,
talking
rain
about is one of them.
Yeah,
I don't know that we're necessarily gonna do that. I'm not sure. This is a very conceptual sketch plan level of indication of how this would work
yes.
from a space planning standpoint only. Full engineering on it's much more complex. And
That,
we
but
started it.
I did, yeah, one of my questions is impervious surfaces, are you planning to pave these driveway roads, or are they gonna be maintained, you know, from
On this
gravel?
permitting, we'd like to pave everything.
Okay,
What we've talked about from the start with this process is we pave the road as it comes up and around to the Habitat for Humanity drive, the first drive. From there on, it would be dirt.
does impervious surfaces create more?
Both are impervious, whether it be gravel or paved, it doesn't make any difference. For the purposes of stormwater.
Thank you, well, so that's part of what you'll need to bring to us, is that plan.
Yeah.
And, you know, you might, once, you know, you might wanna start that application process with the state, once you're ready to submit the.
Working on the engineering.
Great, great, I'd really like to get through this, is it important?
Well, it's sort of segueing what he's saying, and I don't really appreciate being cut off.
I'm not
Sorry.
cutting you off,
Well,
but as
well-
the chair, I have the right to call people.
You
and
do,
we have the
but
right
on
to
the
go-
other hand, as the most serious abutter, okay, I would just like to. You asked me before if I was gonna tell you about the concerns, and Alicia and I have been talking, and we weren't gonna do that. But I would like to just address what Rick just said about the stormwater, which you brought up, and
Yes,
so did Charlie.
yes,
okay.
and you have additional concerns?
I wanna point it out so that everybody hears it for the record. Again, this is Philip Parisi, okay? Where the paving is going to be is directly behind our property, which, if you don't know, the hill behind our house is fairly steep. And we are significantly concerned about stormwater runoff. That was all I was going to say.
Thank you
And may
very
I
much.
just say one thing, Janice? If you don't
Thank you
cut
very
me
much.
off, I could make it very quick.
I also wanna say that we're also very concerned around stormwater.
Now, I'm very concerned about the whole thing, but I'm trying to keep it
And
down.
stormwater, as we know, is one of our biggest issues.
Absolutely. Well, that's the whole reason why this project has come to fruition, because we had two storms on July 11, 2022
Right, so I
and
think that-
twenty
I
twenty three.
would hope that people are working on this, and we've asked them to bring that work.
Right,
to us
but I just
and
needed to
in a
make
hurry.
that statement clear because it was part of the conversation.
Yes, thank you, we'll keep going forward, sorry for interrupting.
Thank you.
Hello, I have a question.
Who's that?
Denise, thanks. I want to make sure that I heard correctly earlier, when Rick was introducing the project. I believe he said that currently they have plans for 50-foot buffers for the wetlands, but if it is changed, we know that Governor Scott is trying to push back against it, they will then have 25 feet buffers. Is that indeed your intention, to just go along with that, even though it is clear that most environmentalists do not think that's a good idea? Thanks.
Thank you for comment. So preliminary identification of any bridges or culverts which may be required, culverts, I think.
Culverts probably will be required in some cases. We
Up
have,
in-
Is there not going to be an answer to my question? It was a question. Is that your intention to have 25-foot buffers if that is allowed by the state? Because I think that's something that the DRB needs to consider. If that is indeed the intention and the sketch plan changes to allow that,
We're gonna
Thanks.
follow all relevant rules and standards.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We're gonna
so it
follow
is
the-
your intention. Thanks.
Our intention is to follow all relevant rules and standards. Thank you, Denise.
I think I got through all of what was required for us to review in 5.7 sketch plan. Submission requirements, now we go to that. Article 6, planning and design standards, which we've kind of been addressing, I think, in reviewing these pieces as well. So let's go there. Article 6, planning. Do we have to go through all of these pieces?
No, I had listed the areas of the regulations that I felt were applicable, but should be reviewed, but you also have 30 days to provide any additional.
Well, I think, let's go through this general standards, okay, let's go through this, so this is a major. We're gonna evaluate the subdivision of the land in accordance with the standards set below. So the DRB may require the applicant to address impacts related to these standards through modification and phasing of the proposed subdivision or measures to avoid or mitigate any adverse impacts. The plan unit development should be encouraged whenever possible. The village district density. But you're not doing PUD, you're doing a traditional subdivision, so we're not gonna go there. PUD, character of the land, all land to be subdivided shall be of such a character that it can be used for intended purpose. And density of use without overdue adverse impacts on public health or safety and the environment, neighboring properties, which we have some concerns. And the rural character of the natural beauty of Plainfield. Reference shall be made to the policies, goals, and strategies of the Plainfield Town Plan and the significant wildlife habitat map. In determining the suitability of the land for the proposed use, land subject to periodic flooding or drainage or other hazardous conditions. Or lacking adequate capability to support buildings, access roads, utilities. And wastewater disposal shall not be ordinarily be subdivided for this purpose. So, but with town water and sewer, you don't have the sewage issues. Or the water issues.
No, if anything, I think they're glad to have more users.
Great, yes, okay, and then, I do want to just stress that stormwater is probably one of this town's biggest issues, so I hope you.
It's certainly on front of our side issue right now. It's a very detailed study, so it's hard to give a lot of detail until
It's done, okay,
That's right.
just saying, that's important to have.
understood.
The preservation of existing features. The existing, so to minimize grading. So it retain natural contours, looks like that's what you're doing. Due regard shall be given to the preservation of the protection of existing features, including but not limited to trees, scenic points, waterways, water bodies, rock outcroppings, steep slope. Unique geological features and other natural resources. So, seems to me that, leaving this big open area, this hill. Appears like you're keeping some of that, a lot of that land open. That's my opinion. Agricultural lands, historic resources. Parcels containing historic structures, which it doesn't, and archaeological sites, it doesn't. Okay, features to be identified but not limited to, agency of natural resources, historic maps, and significant wildlife habitats. And you said as far as, there's
There's nothing on the atlas to describe that, so that's our best reference.
Yeah, and we have conducted an archaeological review by the University of Vermont Archaeological, and they, test bits, they walk the field, there's nothing that they found, there's no evidence of historic structures.
Thank you. Yes, Tammy.
Was that paid by the town?
That was not paid, but that was paid, most recently by us.
So you'll provide us the one that's provided by you and not the town.
I don't understand your question.
You shouldn't be utilizing any of our information as the town.
Would it
Provide
be
for-
public?
That's
Or
public
for
record,
to
that
use? Yeah. Thank you.
But why wouldn't you update that to your current?
I don't understand your question.
Why would you utilize our information that the town used to move the project forward? And not, you're updating the plan, so why would any of that information be utilized?
That's raw data, and I think typically raw data that's part of the public, public information remains at large for everybody to use, and we're not only using it, but we're expanding upon it. And so I don't see the parallel at all between, past designs, which were paid for by the town. This is data like the GIS mapping that goes on, like the zoning, all sorts of public information and public data. We have the same right that everybody does to use that.
Sir. Development Review Board may require the preservation, planting and maintenance of trees, ground cover and other vegetation, so that was one of the questions when we was reviewing this before.
I have a big question on this one too. I find the street tree requirements needing fleshing out, and I guess with your permission, we'd like to work with the administrator to decide what this actually means in terms of the zoning code, and it's a rabbit hole to go down. But there are provisions for when it is in a wooded area that street trees are not required, but there is a provision that all areas need to have it. It's a cost that I don't know if we follow the letter of the law, it doesn't really allow us to do other things we like, such as provide screening to neighbors, that sort of thing. So I guess we'd like some clarity on that as we go forward to a final plat plan.
Right, and one of the discussions we had is if you plant trees, but you're not the owner of these lots, then who's gonna maintain those trees? So I do think that it's a good question. We want landscaping, we want the neighborhoods to be a part of the landscape. But who's gonna care for those is a conversation that I think we were having with the previous, folks who, group that was trying to.
I think that's another side to this, the requirement in the zoning is all well and good, but it does have an ongoing burden potentially for the town. And may not have the benefit that people are hoping.
Right, like in the village, it's volunteers who are maintaining the curbs and the flowers and the trees along the sidewalk, so. We're a small town that way. I think that you said you would work with the zoning administrator to discuss
If
that.
that's acceptable to this group.
Yeah, I think it's
Reasonable
important
approach.
to look at what is most important, like screening to neighbors, use of planting for stormwater mitigation, I think is really important. I think to me, those are more priorities than you find trees that need somebody to care for them. I think it's more important to build areas of natural growth that are gonna help water be absorbed and moved about on the land in ways that it's not gonna speed up and run off and cause problems. So that's in terms of landscaping where I'd like to see a development plan with trees go. Use that resource that you might have that way instead of trees. Yes, sir.
John Osford, I appreciate your opinion on this, but can the DRB actually ignore zoning?
We can waive certain conditions,
Okay.
yes, sir.
So if that's something that may need a variance,
Yeah, maybe
Then-
the variance.
Okay.
the applicant should identify that.
Yeah, so that's where we
If
would
we're
make
gonna get
perhaps need a
variance,
variance.
So that I'm
Okay.
more looking at a negotiated arrangement where everybody benefits if possible, but that's more what I'm looking for is to
Oh,
get to that negotiated middle ground rather than trying to go through a variance process.
well, I don't know what the requirements are, how many trees for what is, Arian, do you have an idea?
I just to speak to that specifically, the rules do talk about that the DRB may require the preservation, planting and maintenance of trees, and so it's not a variance, it's not a
Oh,
full variance
not a
process.
full
It's
fair
not a-
requirement.
Yeah. So that seems like that actually leaves a fair amount of latitude without requesting a variance.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, well, I think that would be something to work on with plan, safe plan.
Just a question on that, I mean, is that? I don't know if that's the same as, I'm not familiar with the requirements of trees along roads. So, but this preservation. To me, that's more like, there's an old tree on a property that'd be nice to keep, and the DRB may require that that's the case. You know, for the character of the site, I'm just not sure that it. The requirements for the number of trees you need to be on a roadway is within our purview outside of variance. So I think that this is something that needs more exploration before.
Yeah, I
we
think
come
so.
back.
It's somewhat unclear to me, and I take it as my problem, but I would like to resolve and get clarity on that before we come to you with a final plan.
Well, look at that, here's where we are. We're at that discussion right now under 2, preservation of existing features. So it says may require the preservation, planting and maintenance of trees, ground covers or other vegetation. So to protect water quality, rather not, so there's one that I am speaking to that I think we should address. And to provide screening, which is something you mentioned. Which to increase privacy with your neighbors, and reduce noise and glare and soften and lessen the visual impact. I think those 2 things are important to consider. To establish trees along public roads and private roads, that is what I'm hearing you say is not a requirement, it's a consideration, and
Sounds like, yes.
so. I don't think
Okay,
we can speak.
alright, we'll. More later.
That it's compatibility, the proposed subdivision will be compatible with the land uses, lot configurations, road networks, and natural, cultural, and scenic features on neighboring properties. That's a subjective opinion. Compliance with other regulations, all subdivisions shall be in harmony with the town plan and shall be in conformance with other applicable federal, state, and local laws and ordinances and regulations, which you will show us that you're doing in your application. We may require a way to by pipe or ditch any spring or surface water. You said there was no real spring or surface water on the site other than
Not that you're trying to, there is stormwater that's gonna have to be.
right, but that's different than natural springs, that's what they're talking about.
So, I think so that'd be my.
The Aryan saying no.
There's no natural springs or rivers or anything like that.
Philip Parisi, I will make this short. And one of the deeds that we have to our house, there is a mention of a spring. And there is some type of egress for water that was placed on our property well before we bought it. So I would just like to present that maybe it's something that is not really visually accessible to know. But it is on one of our deeds.
And it's above with your property right here, you think?
Rick, maybe you wanna come and look at this?
Just bring me a note.
Okay, so. It comes from here, it's in here someplace, right around here, it comes out. So there's our driveway, there's a bunch of trees, and it's right in there that there's this little pipe or a big storm drain type of pipe that water does come out of there,
Okay.
okay?
What does this
With
say?
you, I might like to take a look at that, Bill, if that's okay.
I'm sorry, what is this?
What's this say, property?
Transfer, I'm not sure what that means,
Well, that's something at some point we may wanna discuss with you.
yeah, well, we were interested in something, that's not appropriate here. Alicia is away and she's coming back, so maybe sometime later next week you can contact Alicia. Do you have Alicia's email address?
No, but
I'll give me a pen and I'll give it to you.
Okay, it
She's
seems like,
the point person.
it seems like we've addressed water on the land.
just expressing your opinion.
Erosion and sediment control for all construction, erosion and sediment control. Need to be installed correctly and regularly maintained, following the practices outlined in Vermont Handbook for erosion prevention
She can arrange that with you.
and sediment control. So the smallest practical area of land should be exposed at any one time. So could you just tell us what you're, as the developers, subdividers, just restate, you will be putting in roads, delineating
We'll be
lots?
putting in roads. We'll be delineating lots, we'll be providing utilities and infrastructure to those lots, but not connecting to the final building. We'll be providing stormwater and probably ultimately signage and whatever lighting is required as part of this. We'll be doing infrastructure generally. We will not be building buildings.
And you won't be disturbing land on other than roads and stormwater systems, like, so I'm dealing with the erosion section here. So
We will have to meet the state's requirement for
Yes.
construction erosion
Yes.
control.
that's what it
And
says
so
here.
that's what we'll have to do, and that's a very clear prescriptive thing that an engineer has to put on their drawings and a contractor has to follow, so that's the process that we'll use for that.
For your roads,
For all disturbed areas.
all disturbed areas, which I'm just getting clear, what are those disturbed areas, so everybody knows, and then when somebody purchases a lot, they will have a building permit. And it's a smaller lot, and they too will have to follow the village to
correct.
construct, those construction erosion.
Yes, that's correct,
Rules.
that's correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Access roads and driveways following standards. We've talked about roads a lot, topography we've talked about a lot, road construction standards. It says here. Design, so the runoff, we've been talking about that. Driveways, serving individual lots, accessing a state route, they're not gonna be state routes, so we don't have to deal with that. But emergency vehicles, reasonable grades, you're gonna work with all of that, your engineer, correct?
That's correct.
Utility lines, this is where we go through all of this that we've already talked about, so I'm not gonna read everything again. Cause we've talked about it all. Pedestrian. Are there any sidewalks or no?
No.
Okay. It said, yeah, well, a village zoning district shall provide for the continuation of existing roads and sidewalks for the extension of right of way roads, sidewalks, and pedestrian paths. To connect with adjoining properties in order to create an interconnected network of village streets. With allowed on-street parking and pedestrian facilities. Promote pedestrian circulation and safety. Unless the development review board determines that such extension is impractical due to topographic conditions, natural resource constraints or other physical site conditions. So it is something in.
The sidewalks don't currently extend to the property. So it's not a continuation because they don't.
Provide continuation.
Yeah.
I know that's something else we talked about previously, they know they're very expensive from hard for me to.
And half the lower village doesn't have sidewalks currently, there are plans, but the town never got the money to, yeah.
Sidewalk, okay. Understand.
Yeah.
Town highway access. It's a town road, right? So you're gonna get your permits for that. Pedestrian bicycle access where appropriate. So we wanna think about that as a village, want to be able to be walkable and bikeable. Layout design, private access to roads and driveways serving 4 or more lots in a proposed subdivision. Shall generally conform to the state of Vermont state standards for design, transportation, construction. Reconstruction, rehabilitation on front freeways, roads, okay, so here's another. Design requirement, that's a state, it's required, so we follow.
Yeah, that sort of ends up being, actually taken care of more during the construction process. It's delineated in the drawings and bid documents for the contractor to actually meet.
Okay. Yeah. Right of ways, 50 feet, we spoke of that. Cut and the embankment. So we talked about roads and grading. Cul-de-sac turnarounds, not really, they're all just roads. Miscellaneous requirements, wider travel lanes and or shoulders may be required as appropriate to road function. For street parking, collectors, arterial roads. And to safely accommodate shared use of bicycles. Permanent dead end roads, cul-de-sac shall be discouraged unless deemed necessary due to the physical site limitations and safety considerations. And I know that Charlie spoke to that, but I don't think these are dead ends, rest stop.
They're really not functioning as any sort of a dead end, that's they're really access to a site.
That's what I see, thank
Yeah.
you for restating that.
And, yeah, I mean, it's complicated, but that's the
That's,
result of it, yeah.
I see that, it's the end of the parking lot, and it's an access to. The to the lot 10. And the field, what I see. Parking, plans for safe traffic circulation, looks like you've got a safe plan there, we all agree, right? Okay. And you had said you got the minimum 1.1.5 parking spaces per unit.
That's correct, that's our understanding.
Yes,
If we don't mind people checking. But
Thank
we're-
you.
That's our understanding.
That's our job, I guess. Water supply and wastewater disposal, we've spoken of that, and utilities, we've spoken of that. So is that it?
That's all I see.
I believe so. Well, thanks for bearing with me, so I'm gonna hand it over to the DRB members to say, what do you have to say, because I've been talking a lot.
I mean, I don't have anything to add that we haven't already covered in terms of what we're expecting to see when we final plat. I don't have any outstanding questions about it.
I don't either, I feel like we've covered a lot there.
Mary, do you have anything you wanna add?
No, I think you've covered it all as well as the audience has covered things. So I think I'm all set.
Anybody else, anything else
I
that
just
they'd like to say, yeah?
Philip, before you see again, what is a plat? Is that what you said?
That's the final design map that
I
contains
see.
all the relevant information.
I see,
That's
along
what
with
we-
all the application stuff.
Right.
Is that the next step?
The next step would be, they have to do a lot of work and then submit an application with proof that they've got, that includes all these engineer studies and state regulations and
Ownership issues.
ownership.
And then we would have another meeting like this.
Yes, another hearing that would be warned, and we'll try to get the word out to the neighbors.
Yeah,
As soon as
I mean,
possible.
yeah, for the record, as far as that is concerned, we did follow the regulations that specify and the applicants provided their certificates of mailing 7 days in advance, so I apologize if people.
That may be a post office issue.
It didn't get them, but we did it, and so you would follow that.
And just one other quick thing, the chat, is that gonna be available someplace? Cause it seems like there's some chat stuff going on there.
I can save it and we can make sure it's incorporated in the minutes.
That would be really great, thank you.
Great. Anybody
I have a
else?
question.
Yes, tell us your name.
Dennis Wolberg. I'm on not 192 Main Street, so I'm at the bottom of the street. hill there. What, is there any plan for them not be able to zero cut those trees, buy those lots on those, on the upper part?
We haven't, there's to give clarity, there's some really mature trees that follow around the bank, and I think they've been there for a good long time. It would be at somebody's great peril to cut them down is my thought.
Well, I'm worried about someone did cut down the whole landowner, cut down, then I'm worried about runoff.
Yeah,
I get a
yeah,
tremendous amount of
Yeah.
rain off that hillside,
yeah,
and I don't want it to turn into an eroded bank.
yeah, I think that's the word.
So I don't know if that could be stipulated, they can't cut the tree,
So,
it's gotta be something.
That's an interesting request because I have seen horrible erosion on my property due to upland clear cutting or cutting. So I do think that if there's a way as owners transferring deeded lots in the deed saying that to prohibit clearing the standing trees to prevent erosion and I think you can put, what do they call them? They call them, the deed owner puts them in them, they're deed restrictions.
I think that we run into a tricky kind of tricky middle ground here. You don't want people to cut those down, it's a bad idea. At the same time,
Green area,
but at the same time, you don't really wanna take over the responsibility of what happens when one falls down or gets hung up or something like that. Then the landowner
Well, that is different than cutting down the forest, right?
Okay, you see what I'm saying?
Well, I think
There's like, if a tree is dying,
Right,
can they cut it down? Like you just,
Yeah.
you gotta be careful about it. I agree, you
That's
gotta be
that's
careful
what I'd
about
like to,
the
that's where
language.
I'd like
I'm
to
not sure.
get some clarity on exactly what we should do, and maybe it's just something for all of us to think about a bit for.
I'm just concerned that, so I bought this lot, I want a view of Campbell's Side.
right,
I
yeah,
wanna cut the trees down.
Yeah,
it's,
And I'm gonna be the one that suffers from that, 'cause there's gonna be a lot of runoff.
yeah,
ultimately, all the people that do it, they'll lose their own ground, but. I think, I don't know how to prevent that yet, so we're.
think about that, maybe
Yeah.
there's somebody out there who's
What if there's,
understands language that you put into a deed that allows for us to not just, to allow, maintenance of the land in a way that still preserves the integrity of the trees holding down the bank. You need outside questions.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah,
I have one
give
question.
it your name even though, no, for the record.
I'm Rick Burrows with the PCDC. I have one question, the sixplex lots, there is a parking lot that's shown between them. Now, ideally, from a design standpoint, both us and the landscape architect that we've engaged would rather have there be green space between the two buildings and put the parking behind it. The technical difficulty with that is that potentially the lower road would also be a front, in which case the zoning is fairly clear. We think that should not be, that the parking should not be placed in front of the building. But because this has two fronts, we'd like permission to address that as a back lot. And so we could move the parking. I think it makes a better plan. It gets rid of a number of issues that we'd rather not have, and I just think it's a more interesting open space
So
to
you-
move the parking to behind the two lots.
Back here, where's the open spaces now?
Yeah, move the parking to the open space here if possible and open this up and make it a green space that's owned by home.
Correct. And because the rules stipulate for the village zoning here,
Yeah.
parking has to be either in the side or the rear of the building, but because this building has two fronts, the side is obvious, the rear is less obvious.
What's a rear, what's a front in this case is not clear.
Right, it's a lot.
So in order to make it better, we have to do something with the zoning. We can pass the zoning, but it is not as good.
No,
How about
we
that?
just have to have an acknowledgement that one side is the rear and one side is the front, so, yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, I think that you can determine which side. With home that they intend to have the front and have,
They're pretty clear that the uphill side is their front.
then have the parking in the back.
And the parking would be on the downhill side. There's about a story grade drop between those two streets, so that's part of the design.
Tammy,
So are they suggesting that the parking not be on the lot itself, or are they suggesting the parking stays? Because with that MOU, are you trying to imply that the town would be taking over parking? Or are you keeping it on the lot?
It's
I guess
all,
that's-
it's all,
I'm trying to-
it's all on the lot. It would
Okay,
just be
I
a
just-
switch of location.
Yeah, I would, or-
To the right of the building, it is.
Yeah, is it,
Yeah,
that they would move the parking to like here and here instead of that, which could be an open space in between,
lot.
still on the.
still on the town's
Yeah.
property.
Okay, I
Yeah.
was just trying to clarify what
No,
you're
no,
saying.
that's good, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
does not become owned by the town.
Right, that's what I was trying to clarify.
Two fronts and no back.
right,
In
and
this
the,
case, there's a front and a back.
Exactly.
the frontage
And I-
case, yeah,
Open, so what defines that, the front, I could imagine it being the side of the buildings that faces the buildings across the street. If there's a reason for it to be uphill versus downhill, maybe that's a reason, but I sort of imagine the front being the side of the lot that faces the buildings across the street. Makes sense.
Okay, okay.
I think that's consistent with what we're proposing.
This is your sketch plan review, this isn't your permit application, so
yes, there you go.
We're looking to make an adjustment there, so, yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, for letting us know. Anything else that people have to share before we end this hearing? Then I will, yes, sir, close the hearing, do I need a motion, or do we just close the hearing?
Hearing, so,
I just close it, I'm gonna close it,
don't know,
8:45.
I guess should we go ahead and move to close it, just.
Cover all bases.
Can you cover our bases?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can move to close the hearing.
Your second, and Dan, Mary, all right, it's closed, as they said, 8:45. And we will see all of you again, I'm sure. Again, as we review a permit application for this proposal.
I already all about it.
You know.
Yes.
Let's move on to.
Schedule.
Happy Wednesday.
I think we can do the minutes.
I know Jeanette likes working with her on the board. Yeah.
This.
She's patiently waiting over there. Dan, it's Dan, right? Dunbar.
Dunbar, sketch plan review, next step, please talk about that. Okay, I didn't. Congrats. I did know that the times are estimated. Come stay close.
Sorry, times are an estimation.
Oh.
Guys, you have another hearing.
Yes, sir. Hey, everybody, can we?
Go to the hallway.
We move our conversations into the hallway, so, cause we gotta record this next, we still got a little bit here.
Okay, all right.
So-
Like we're a reasonable concern about the road. And that's something that we think about, we just want to fix that.
I'm gonna give you this pile because it's all possible.
Got it.
Oh, we got a cat now.
Oh. Love. Yes, I saw your letter that says that your neighbor and you. Is she gonna put that right? I think that would be good. So, as for the record, I think as well, that there's a huge agreement that's right away through our property. Yes, you should do that.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you can come to the hearing and put it on record. And have it. Some of the thing was, you're pretty clear that you're gonna do a right of way application for
The one off
right
the
away
drive.
through your driveway.
Right, yeah.
Okay, does that make sense for you?
Yes, I guess that makes things mean, so once we're talking about my property line. That's one thing, there has to be whatever, who gives it.
Right, so here's, you're on the little map as I understand it, here's into the. In this road, right?
I got
Here's
this.
your access, right here, right?
Yeah.
And then this driveway is gonna come off of this maybe here, right? So you're gonna need to give this lot that you're proposing subdivided right away to here.
And that all happens through a deed.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
So once. When we from once we get to a place where the application is approved, is that what it is, I get the deed?
Well, yeah, so you had mentioned this, cause like obviously it's, you don't wanna put this whole thing together before you have approval, but I think it should be part of the application, like the. Plan to have one, and then it may be a condition of the, right, of the approval.
We can put that in the conditions of the approval that the deed will specify the right of way, yeah.
It's a-
It's just a written agreement. This house might be.
And then we also, did you also write something about like the deed will have a restriction of what can be built within the building envelope? And you submitted that, correct? Did you submit it or was it just a letter?
It was an email, you emailed me, I forwarded it to them, yeah, so that wasn't part of the, I mean, well, there hasn't been an official application. Yeah, but that was just the additional information that.
So I think all, I think, and the stormwater drainage issue that you talked about, and I read that, I thought that was great, that you're really thinking about all of those
Yeah, I want to make
issues.
sure that I'm able to handle any issue that has to become another property or this. That's up to you. There's already a berm there as it is, so you've been talking to it does family, they're all so the family they're all together. There's no water that's gonna come there. There's already a culvert.
Okay.
Already, I put one in our driveway so that any water that's possibly that but it's going to be already different and safer. Place or, you know, any concern.
Great. Mary, I was just realizing, can you hear us?
I can hear a little bit of Mr. Dunbar, but I can't. If he could speak up or move closer or move the mic closer, that would be helpful. What's the organization we're doing now? I mean, I have a couple questions, but I can't tell when I should be asking them.
For this discussion that we're having with Mr.
Yes.
Dunbar? You can
Yes.
ask him now.
Okay, so I had some from the first map we got. I saw map lots 2 and 3, and I assume Mr. Dunbar owns both of those. Is that correct? Okay. And when I first saw the map, there was an existing house, and that must have been, I think I figured it out, that existing house or the house was what was permitted originally with the subdivision. Is that correct? There isn't a house there right now.
It's a proposed, he's got a building permit for his home, right? Correct.
You have an existing zoning permit.
Yeah.
It's an existing zoning permit for that
For
house on,
Lot 2?
correct.
Okay, so now you're proposing another house on lot 3. And that's what this discussion is about, Lot 3.
That's correct.
Proposing to divide the original subdivision into half. Is that right? Okay, thank you. That was not clear to me at the last meeting.
And I am confused about what this circle is down here and where a building envelope is in this. So the building
That's
envelope,
proposed, right? This is the proposed driveway and
Yeah.
proposed building.
okay, so I've never seen a round building
It's
envelope.
a-
I know,
It's
Somewhere in there.
building, because we're not building the house, we're
Right.
not building the house, I mean, somebody else is gonna pick what they wanna build. So for us to say it's gonna be 50 feet wide, 30 feet long, you know, whatever.
But you still need,
That's the envelope,
you need to designate the envelope. Yeah,
which is why, that's how I just kind of circled it as, you know, the house, the garage.
Yeah.
Would be in that.
Building envelope.
yeah, I think that for purposes of clarity, that it needs to have dimensions. If you want it to be round, then it would need a diameter.
Again,
And then it would need measurements from property boundary and from like the woods, if you
Yeah.
know, that
Yeah.
woods
Yeah.
boundary.
Yeah.
So that somebody who came to build would know where to build.
So I can't tell how close where that circle is how close that is to the boundaries.
what
So
are
there's-
the requirements? Is it 50 feet?
50
50.
feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it
And
would be outside of that. for
Yeah.
sure.
This is just an estimate. So yeah.
That's right.
Is
And
your
maybe-
plan to sell this lot 3 to somebody else? What's the
That's
deal?
correct. That's correct.
Okay,
And then they can build the suit.
okay. Thank you.
You'll have neighbors.
Correct. Well. Yes.
Yeah, so Mary, it took me a while, but there's this squiggly line that's on lots. Well, it's on both lots. That's like an edge of a forest.
Okay,
So this kind of triangular shape where the road comes in and the building lot is all field, correct?
That is correct.
And then that field ends at that squiggly line, which is then all forested beyond that.
I got it. Thank you.
That was kind of important for me to get, because then, you know.
Sure.
Did we say we were gonna do a site visit?
I was just gonna say,
We
we
did.
talked about that, yeah.
You.
I would love to go up there, and so when you submit an application and we schedule a hearing, usually what we do is we try to get up there like at 6, if we have a 7 o'clock meeting.
So the same
Day, just go up there an hour early.
Okay.
That would work for you, it's just good because like we're permitting something that we haven't seen.
Sure.
And I think, and we're going from these town maps instead of a engineered map with all of the contour lines and, you know, so it's a little different.
I drove up Cerruti Road and I assume it was Inda's house. And then I turned around in her driveway because the road after that seemed to be just a 2-lane, not an improved road, certainly.
No, that's our driveway for where we're going to build, and the base layer is what's been put down, so it's bigger stone, which, you know, we were recommended not to finish it until we were done building, because the construction people destroy it.
Yeah.
Where did you come from or where do you live now, can I ask?
I live in Berry County. My wife has lived in Plainfield for years, so, you know, many years ago, but
Uh-huh.
she fell in love with Plainfield, and we got the opportunity to buy some land that we liked, and that's where we wanna live.
I'll say we built the ADU on our property and had to have the that part of the road redone. Because, yeah.
Driveways, I
we-
can't tell you how much
Built
expensive the driveway was, it was so expensive, it's like, yeah, I don't need to spend any more money on that driveway right now.
It's a pretty good long driveway, isn't it?
That driveway is about 850 feet long.
Why are you, I mean, maybe this will change when you get around to doing the map with the building envelope in it, but it seems weird to me to see what you have proposed here to be right in the back of right up against the woods.
Yeah, similar to where we are building our house, which if you could see that on the map,
Yeah.
it's where the best views are. Because it's
Oh,
at the highest point of the fields.
And also then you're also like not breaking up your open lands, you're kind of tucking yourself up against the woods, which I always think is a little more attractive for a house lot than blocked in the dead center of a field.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, as our house sits now, we can't see a house around us. And it'll be very similar to whoever builds there too, is that, you know, with a tree or two, they would never even see Enda's house. Which is nice, a lot of me said for that.
Yeah.
Privacy.
Yeah,
okay.
all right. So do you have other questions for us?
I guess the only other questions I have is when I'm doing this application. It's pretty much, it's the same as the zoning application. There's very little information that there is that it appears that I can put on it.
I know, not very good,
So,
right?
Well, it says the application shall contain those items set forth in section 5.8, which is basically the same thing for the sketch plan, except it says all the information for the sketch plan plus you know, location. I think I emailed this to you, but maybe I'm not sure. The location of temporary markers on the plan.
Yeah.
All that, the lots within the subdivision, typical cross, there's a list of different things.
So
And
it's the
here-
plat you have to build that has all of these specs.
okay, so. That's something I'm gonna be doing on the sketch plan. Correct? Okay. And any verbiage to it that needs to be included on it?
Well, like you sent us other documents, we can use them as a part of the submittal already, like your Indy's permission and
Okay.
your deed restrictions you're gonna put on it.
Yeah.
And then we'll consider those things when
Okay.
it comes to hearing.
So the only thing I need to really change on the sketch plan and itself is a more. Not a round building envelope, but and then it's the footages between the boundary lines.
You need a minimum lot, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And as far as
Well, I think that you also do need, when you subdivide it, well, you have the forest defined, but if there's any stone walls or any other
Are
feature.
any stone walls included in that part of the subdivision?
Right, so there's this here in our zoning regs that you would wanna look through, to make sure that you would acknowledge in your, so it's a plat or it's a map that usually an engineer puts together for you that has all of these details and setbacks and everything, but we have had plans of subdivisions, right, that are hand done or no?
I mean, for the final plat, it's pretty specific.
There it is. You have to get an engineer to do that.
Sure, and I get that
Yeah.
for the purpose of
Filing it with
moving
the
it
town,
forward.
right,
I mean,
right, to file it with the town.
Yeah.
okay.
I guess is the final plat done during the subdivision plan hearing or after? That's not totally clear.
Well, it used to be that we would have a preliminary plat, it was usually on a piece of paper that an engineer had done, we'd look at it, make sure it meets all these specs, and then when they come back with the final plat on Mylar, which seemed redundant, that's why we didn't do it. We prove that, if we
Yeah.
prove it, or they come back with another paper plan with all of it, and we prove that, and then they come and submit and file with the town.
Right.
Mylar plat.
Okay.
So basically I had Chase do this
They did a conceptual,
Yes.
yeah, right,
Which basically. That's where I'm at with this, that they're the ones that, okay, this is where the boundary line is gonna be, it's gonna follow the field down through.
Yeah.
This is okay for now. When I do the application, all I need to put on this also is the setbacks.
Well, there, you have these other requirements for a plat that's, well, Chase and Chase, but yeah, here it is, so here it is, that, but it has to have things like, here's to the north, here's who did it. You know, it has to
but
have.
even before the final
Like-
plat, it also says like
Zoning
legal
information.
description of the proposed covenants or deed restrictions and stuff like that, so.
So,
Yeah, so that I can handwrite.
yes,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes,
Yes,
I'll.
yeah, but just to verify that, you know, this, I think I had emailed you that section, but
Sure.
is covered basically, right?
I'll send it all, put it together, and give it to you and let you put your eyes on it.
Yes, yeah.
If we have to do some adjustments, you know.
The one thing that I thought was a little unusual is there's, for the supporting documents, is proposal for assurance of completion, including performance bond or equivalent surety, including maintenance for 2 years with written evidence from the select board that it is satisfied with said assurance, or that's not necessary. Doesn't that seem, have you guys ever dealt with that?
When I read that, I said, well.
I know,
I can't apply.
I don't think that applies, right?
That's-
Okay.
It's a project.
Right.
insurance?
No, like an assurance of completion.
Oh, we don't
You
have
don't-
that in our town,
Okay.
I don't think.
Okay, because that's in the subdivision plan supporting documents last required, so as long as you all say it's not required for this project.
A legal description, erosion, construction sequence, times the, well, you know, that is actually, I'm sorry, that was always, you know.
But also in this case, the construction you're saying is gonna be.
I'm
you're
not
building
doing
it.
it.
Right,
Right, so
yeah.
we-
Somebody knows.
Those are things that we waive,
Okay,
we would waive things like. The things that,
that don't apply.
that, like the driveway, he's gonna have it on there, but like,
Right.
the actual-
And the same thing for like the septic.
right,
The
there,
person building should be able to say, hey, I want it
Right.
here, as opposed to in front of my house.
so these subdivision plans, those documents would be waived.
And that's something that they would have, you know, get their permits through you folks on that part, saying, hey, it's Jason Chase came out. This is what we got, this is where the well's gonna go, that's where the septic's gonna go.
Right.
Right,
But I don't have to ask for exceptions with that for this process.
No.
Okay, alright,
Right, I don't know.
okay.
It doesn't seem to me, it seems to me that that would apply to a subdivision that included
Construction.
construction.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
So
even.
there will be there's gonna be a separate, or what is there a separate process for the building, or that's a part of the existing, that's a separate process than just the subdivision.
it's a building permit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I bought this property 5 years ago, and there was no. You know, you put the driveway where you wanna put it. You put the septic where you put the house where you wanna put it, you know, that's kind of the way it was then.
I guess you would just wanna make sure that whoever buys it, that it is permitted, like. They can get septic and all.
Oh, yeah, hold on,
But,
yeah.
it's as long as that's
That's
Yeah, because to build something, as long as you don't need a variance, then it doesn't have to come in front of us.
Right.
Just the process with.
A building permit with the zoning administrator. So you're basically subdividing, but you're subdividing, we want that building envelope and we want the right of way where the driveway is gonna enter that
Yeah.
property, but then.
the basics.
That's the basics, and in,
basics.
and on the map, any distinguishing characteristics, that's what, but
That's
that's.
why I drew a circle, you know, and if you need something drawn up, when that
Well, you
person buys
can't-
it, they could come to you and say, yes, this building's gonna be smaller, it's gonna be.
Well, you know, that's interesting, would we, I mean, I think that it's a good idea to put a building envelope on it, but what if they wanna build it right at the bottom of the driveway?
Nope.
Okay, then
Yeah.
you have, then you, it's that, it's there.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, yeah, I like the idea of the building.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You know. That's why I just drew a circle.
yeah.
So that's a pretty big area.
and what about utility poles and stuff
So
like that?
the Washington Electric goes right, their lines go over that, you know.
So they need to be
Yeah.
demarcated, but they should be on the plan that
They
just
are
gave it, so.
already, yeah, actually,
That's for the wood.
it follows the property line in itself. So right here. this line coming right through here, this is the Washington Electric power line, so this is their right of way coming through. This property line would basically be right on that line, so they actually have a pole already right here. They have another one in the field already, that's would be on the property, on the subdivision, so they, you know, that's between Washington Electric, they usually don't let you come off their main pole, they make you put in another one. That's what they made me do, when I just put mine in, that's like, well, I got a pole right here, they're like, yeah, but they always are gonna look out for themselves first. We wanna put another 3-phase pole in for $6,000. So that's what I decided to do.
And the sewage and stormwater disposal systems, like, I guess that would be anything that already exists, right?
Nothing exists, no, that would
No,
be-
there's nothing, okay.
That you would, so what we often do is we waive those conditions of the subdivision application. And then we state it in the decision that whoever is going for a building permit has to fulfill those requirements.
So does he need to state that he's seeking waivers for those things, or no? As part,
Yeah,
he does.
yeah, in his
Okay.
application, he'd be wanting to waive these sequence of construction, because there is none, erosion and storm, well, you already did your stormwater, I think that's important, if there's some that you're putting in there, anything that you're not putting in there, which would be wastewater.
Basically, at this point, it would be just the septic, the well, location.
Driveway, grade,
Driveway.
right, I mean, you've kind of outlined where the driveway's gonna go, so that's actually location of all improvements, including building envelope, driveways, utility pole, underground live sewage and stormwater disposal system. We would just waive that, and you could ask for that, or we could just say, well, geez, you're not gonna be doing that, so we'll waive that.
Okay.
Even if it's not in there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's, anything else, so other than that, I'm good to go with this application, just basically draft it back up.
Mhm.
Put the
I like it.
building setbacks,
Yep. Yeah,
we're good, we're going forward,
yes,
okay. Thank you.
yeah, luckily you're in home building too,
Oh, boy.
And the right of way approval will be part of your application for the
who
new
does it go
driveway.
with? Get that,
Well, that's gonna go through this review, but it's part of it's part of the zoning permit application.
okay,
Yeah, and then there will be there's a form that we've developed that can be part of the final decision
great,
from the deer.
cause it used to not be us.
It used to be the planning commission, but now it's changed in the new regulation.
Okay, that's fine, it
So-
makes sense.
So,
Yeah.
the way form in itself, is that something that I can get from you?
Well, the way that I talked to the planning commission about doing this is to just have it be part of your request for the zoning permit application, is that it's a subdivision and right of way approval. The right of way approval form is something that the DRB will just fill out
Gotcha.
in their final
Okay,
decision. Yeah, because otherwise it feels a little bit redundant to do
Gotcha. Yep.
2 separate applications.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. Well, thank you.
yeah, thanks for your patience.
Yes.
No problem.
Alright,
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's a. Like, a lot going on here.
Yes.
oh my goodness, how many times have you did for some? But I want people to express their concerns, I do.
I thought it went fine.
I wanna say that was pretty amazing all around. I feel like we managed a pretty tricky conversation, complicated thing, and I feel like the information went across to everyone. I feel like it made sense to everyone, and it was great.
Well, and I do feel like we do get to make priorities, and I know that when we're doing this, because we've been involved with it a while, is that I think sidewalks are important, but they're huge expense, and who's gonna maintain them?
Yeah.
Right? So I think that considering, like those things, and we can't force those, I wish we could, because there's not the money, there's no state money for that, there's no, so But just to say we want it to be walkable, pedestrian safe, you
I think
know.
the thing is, I mean, they are talking about a number of units here, but it's not a throughway, right? It's just, you know, there's only so many cars that are gonna be going in and out of here, you know, I mean, it's like, you know,
Mhm.
you can walk on roads.
And they've
It's
made-
not ideal, but, you know.
Yeah.
It would be pretty, the character of the town as a whole is that there's not a whole lot of sidewalks.
Right, it'd be kind of weird that this, you get to this road leading up to a development, all of a sudden there's sidewalks there.
It's true.
Yeah.
Which
Agreed.
are probably just gonna get washed, it's just probably gonna just create a water problem.
Right,
obviously.
exactly, you're right.
So,
Yeah, all right. I think it did go well.
yeah, you know. Forget about it. Alright. We do
Okay,
minutes?
so yeah, let's do it. I read them today and I emailed you and I
Yeah.
think Acorn did a great job with the AI note taking.
I'm curious, yeah,
First
this
one typo,
I thought I did too, but then when I went to find it, I couldn't find
it
it.
was a, I think it was a reference to the right of way.
But it's ROA is right away. Row. I said row and then I went back to look at it, it said right away.
ROW, yeah, if it's,
That was the typo I found, though, I think.
Are we talking about the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you find any edits?
I didn't make them, I didn't see it the first time I read it, but I don't remember abstaining for the minutes. Number 3, review and approval of past minutes.
I thought you did, because you weren't at the,
oh, row of,
that
Apply
meeting.
for an additional right of way.
okay.
Not a
But
road.
I don't remember for sure.
Right, that's right, right, well, that's right, so then I saw it, but then when I looked at it again, I was like, it is
Oh.
right.
So what do
Sorry,
I just
Jerry.
tell her or
I'm
tell?
confused. What are we talking about?
Just a typo where it says row of way rather than
Oh.
right of way.
Okay.
And then Mary's saying that she didn't remember not she doesn't remember abstaining from the minutes, and that says.
I don't remember.
I abstained from,
Oh, that must be an
Minutes.
error.
Yes,
Some
I
things
think
that,
it was Jesse.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
there's another error.
because I edited something, it doesn't always know who's talking, because we don't identify.
Yeah.
ourselves. So that's something to watch out for.
I see.
good catch.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
And then let's see, the only thing. Was the administrative, there was parts of this I wasn't, cause I'm doing the agendas actually, but this says that Acorn, this is very particular, but.
Oh, I thought she
They-
posts them on the website, or are you posting them?
I was sending them directly to Bob because I
Okay.
create them based on. So I think Acorn is doing the minutes for
Yeah.
sure.
And
And the
no,
We're
we're
not just-
you're
not
do-
the
okay,
decision.
because that's what it says. It says final minutes, decisions, and agendas. And and at the town office and the 3 designated public places, but I'm the one who's doing it. So I think it's mostly that they're doing the minutes, at least for right now.
Right, I think I guess I thought that meant that they were gonna post them to the to Bob, send them to Bob, but if it's not a problem,
They posted the minutes, but not the
agenda.
yeah, because otherwise I'm the one who drafts it and then I send it to them and then they send it
Right,
to
it
Bob.
doesn't matter, but what about decisions that we approve? Do we want Acorn to send the decisions to Bob? Or do you want?
That
to do
would be fine.
Okay.
I mean, because those are things you write, not something I write, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So okay, so
We'll just request,
take the agendas off, but it's not at the town. Those all are on the website.
right,
Mhm.
post onto the website, so
Yes.
just clarify that, post on the
Okay.
website, and then
Minutes.
for hearings, post in 3 places, we asked Acorn to do that, so you don't have to do that. When it comes
Right,
to
but
a
I guess
hearing.
but I'm the one who wrote the
Like-
the warning.
Do you wanna do the posting?
I've been doing it.
Okay,
I
then
mean,
they don't need to, I think
Yeah.
we were just trying not to have
Right.
too much on your plate,
right.
so you get to
So I can
decide.
decide, I guess, if I need assistance.
Maybe you would
Posting.
also, yeah, instruct Acorn if you want Acorn to do it.
Okay.
And
alright.
otherwise, it's your job.
Okay, that's
How's that?
fine. That's fine. Yes.
Just we have to make sure it gets done. And
Yes.
maybe you'd be the one to make sure, especially when it's hearings, you kind of
Right.
oversee all of that. legal stuff,
Right,
sending out notices and
yes,
posts.
but I can ask for assistance if I need it, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's what we'd like.
Yeah, so I'll just say Kaylee will oversee.
These tasks.
Let's see these. And we need to revise these or something, is that?
We
the
can
best way? Or-
move to approve them with the revisions noted.
And then Acorn
And
can
then
edit
give it
it.
to Acorn, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
I move to approve the minutes with the revisions as noted.
I second.
I second.
All in favor? We have
Aye.
2 seconds there, so I think Jesse seconded first, but I'll take a motion, Mary, to adjourn.
No, because
Oh.
I want to, I asked
Oh,
Kaylee
I'm
if she
sorry,
will
yes.
review what's coming up before her.
Yes, and we also have to reschedule next month's
Meeting.
Right.
set a date.
And
for
we
that.
might have a hearing. Maybe Dunbar?
We also, yeah, so did you want, Mary, you wanted me to discuss that now, right? Like what is coming up?
Yeah, why don't you?
Yes. Okay, so the big thing for September is the Plainfield Inn from John
Oh.
Roderick.
Oh.
Did we schedule him already on the 9th? Did he submit an application?
Not yet, but it may actually work that date might change because they are really rushing to try to make that date. So if the meeting is not, it's gonna be later in September. That may actually be better. For their purposes, and even I had talked to Will about. Will had said that sometimes there are some circumstances where the DRB will have a second meeting later in the month or something.
Mm.
Have to, but so, and you don't
We
need to.
don't often do that.
Okay, that's what he said. But it sounds like, my point is, it sounds like the 9th isn't gonna work anyway for the regular.
Right.
Right.
Should we just push it to the following Wednesday, the 16th?
I'll say my schedule's gonna be up in the air. I'm not gonna be in. I'll be away, but I might be able to attend. So I know I can't on the 9th, but I might be able to on the 16th.
I should be around on the 16th, yes.
Hold on. That works for me.
Okay, so we'll put DRB on Wednesday the 16th.
Kaylee, does that work for you?
Yes, that's fine.
And then, so what else is?
And then as far as other things, yeah, so, I approved a permit for. You're just asking for general, the permits in general, not just, okay.
Yeah.
So I approved a permit for Michael and Kim Nolan for, this is pretty straightforward, but it was a 24x14 structure with open sides to cover a sawmill. There was a permit from Eli Yeager, or permit application from Eli Yeager on Country Club Road for a home daycare, which I marked as incomplete because he doesn't have the state license yet, so we're waiting on the state license. But otherwise, that is set to be approved once the state license.
Where is that?
On Country Club Road, 729. Okay. Then
One of those. I saw from Perform Post.
Oh,
that
yeah.
they have.
Yeah.
someone mentioned that to me, yeah, but he told me that they weren't starting until the fall if they didn't have a state license.
Oh,
So-
well, I mean, maybe they're taking signups.
Oh, that could be,
Mm.
okay, so I need to follow up with him about that, Matt Paquin on Gagne Road submitted an application for a new 30x35 garage and breezeway attached to the existing home. He needs a better site plan and wastewater permit information, so waiting for that. And then Nathan DeForge. New home construction, this one just came in recently.
Sorry.
That's okay. And then Dan Dunbar renewed his original permit for the house that he still hasn't, the their house. That they haven't built yet.
Nathan's, is that on Middle Road?
Upper Road, or, yeah, 674 Upper Road. But. And I think this was previously, they did a subdivision before I was here.
Because there's an excavator on Middle Road right around there.
That's what you were saying, right? So where is that? On Middle Road somewhere?
Yeah. It's between the Potter's house and the Craig's house.
Okay. And is that, oh wait, so
His family lives on Upper Road.
Nathan's, you're saying? Or,
Yeah, Nathan DeForge.
yeah, but that sounds like that's not the construction you're talking about on Middle Road?
I think he is building on Middle Road, but maybe the application is from Upper Road.
Oh, okay, because it does say it needs an address. Okay. They just applied for a zoning permit, so I don't know.
Okay.
I guess I'll look. Sorry, you said where on Middle Road?
It's probably about the same street number, but I don't know.
Okay, because there was other things on Middle Road before I was here.
If, just as a matter, like, I always have the sense from Karen that when someone just starts building without applying for a permit, she kind of just,
Shows up.
oh, she
Yeah.
does, okay, I was wondering about this, so
Yes,
you'll
he does.
show up and say.
They do have the authority to enforce and to then say, listen, Karen's method was always. Let me get you in compliance, you need a building permit.
Yeah,
Not like, I'm gonna fine you because
Right.
you're doing this.
Right.
So it's like, you need a building permit, let's work that out.
Okay.
So, and there's a sign that Kyle Farnham's building the house.
Okay. It's on Middle Road too?
Yeah, that's the one, the same one.
Okay, I'm wondering if this is the there was a permit for 1700 Middle Road, Caitlin Farnham and Nick Mumley.
Oh, yeah, that's further up.
That's further up. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to look into
Take a drive.
what you're talking about, but I will.
Okay.
And verify that.
And then there's another excavator on Upper Road, much further up.
Okay.
Right where Bartlett Road comes in.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know what that's doing.
Right. And I would assume if these were permitted, there would be permits visible, right? Or
Yes, you would think so.
So I will look at it.
Okay,
Close.
thank you.
Yes.
All right, now, to adjourn.
Mary, you want to add it?
Sure, I move that we adjourn.
Sounds good.
Yes, yay, we're all adjourned.
This is our longest meeting for me so far.
Yeah. Thanks, Mary.
Goodbye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Hard work, our job. Yeah, right.
Good. This is right.
It's like, why can't we be neighborly about this? Why is there so much hostility? I mean,
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's when people say, it's the thing that gets me is when you start like overall on the numbers of like, oh, this was in a week before this thing. So technically they can't use